to make non-contingent offers, all of a sudden the market had taken a jump. It was a little bit outside their reach, but they did take a long, hard look and were able to readjust their thought process so that they bought something totally different than what they wanted. But I think, again, they've picked an area of the market that I think will make a major resurgence, and I think that's going to blow us all away, because that's going to be at the Ironwoods at Kapalua, which same thing. You know, you're going to see a few sales have been in there that are at lower prices. And then, again, same jump. It went from $2 million to $3 million. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with this particular sale. But someone that wanted a house and finally realized, no, they were okay with a condominium if it worked for them. And I think they're going to have a fabulous place.
I think it's a good point. I'm also looking at changes in the market here, and I'm noticing that the average time to sell a house in Maui, which is a question I get all the time now, average time to sell a house is 138 days, and that is actually substantially down from prior years.
Yeah, days on market has always been really an interesting one here in Maui, because sometimes you've got someone that will put a place on the market, and because places like Kapalua, Kaanapali, Wailea, there's a lot of strength in the ownership. So somebody may list it and they're looking for the top of the market. They're looking for someone that really is looking for that perfect second home, and they're willing to wait. So we do see longer periods of time on the market than you might see if you were buying a home in Buffalo, New York, or even California, where things are whipping through the market faster. But I think the days on market is better than it was, Dean, so I think that really is going to make a difference in our overall marketing for the next year.
Right. And it looks like we're in a little bit of a standoff mode too now. After a good run earlier in this year, we're having a harder time putting these deals together, just because we're running into sellers who are not as motivated as some of these recent distress type sales. So, part of it is it looks like it's cooling off, and I think you're going to read a lot of cooling off in the media across the country. But I think what happens is it's not necessarily a bad thing. Cooling off can often mean that sellers are expecting higher prices, and the standoff is a little bit of the buyers being more patient and not wanting to necessarily pay that price. So standoff and cooling off is not necessarily a bad thing for the market.
Probably not. And also it's probably going to be who blinks first, buyer or seller. And I think in a number of the properties that you and I are talking about, that we were trying to get deals together that we thought were almost there, and then you just hit that point where it's not a huge amount of money, but the buyer just isn't willing to step up, and the seller is just backing down, thinking, well, I'll just wait it out. And we did have a circumstance like that recently with the property, that the buyer that we had for a particular condominium just wouldn't come up anymore. But now it is under contract with someone else. So again, we're going to see some snooze-a-lose on both sides too, I think.
Yeah, and the sellers just aren't caving like they used to. I mean, it seems like a different seller out there, and less distressed. But having said that, there obviously still are a number of foreclosures in the market. So, it's small progress. We are definitely improving. It would appear, based on statistics, that 2009 was the bottom of our market. But the progress is pretty gradual and sometimes not noticeable, but we clearly are heading in the right direction. We still do have foreclosures, not as many as we had in the past, but certainly that's part of the improvement.
One of the things, the whole foreclosure thing, doesn't always work for everybody. People love the idea, I'm going to pick up a foreclosure, it's really going to be the deal of a lifetime. But then if you aren't here, and for all the second home people that we deal with, in a lot of cases the foreclosure place has gotten pretty beat up, either by tenants or by people taking a lot of what normally would have stayed with the house out of the house, or the landscaping in really bad shape and it's been left dry and the water's been turned off. So there are a lot of things that aren't going to work for everybody when it comes to this whole foreclosure idea. And as much as, Dean, you're right. I mean, it is going to be a hard time, but I think that we are going to see people stepping back in, especially second home buyers, that are going to realize that, okay, I could do this foreclosure, but for another $100,000, this one has been on the market for a while and is really a great value and is in perfect shape. So we're hoping for those guys to step back up too.
Right. I get a lot of calls for people that want to see foreclosure properties or REOs. And typically what ends up happening is that people often pass on those because, and I always tell people too, that generally those are properties that no one else has wanted, and everyone's passed passed on and it's gotten to the point of the foreclosure. So they're not necessarily the best properties. I don't think people want cheap. I think they want value.
I think you're absolutely right. And, you know, and again, not everybody, but I think for the people that are coming in, and especially the market that we deal primarily in, the second home market, but even the owner-occupants right now, if somebody's coming in and they're figuring out their money and how much cash they have and being able to buy something, if they're buying something and they're using 20% down, as is the case in many transactions right now, they aren't going to have a lot of ready cash to now go in and make it their own and to make it really great. So if they buy something that has too much deferred maintenance, they're going to be stuck with that for the next 5 years or longer. So again, finding the right purchase for someone that's going to be living it is going to be more and more vital based on cash available.
That's right. Have we killed this market update enough? You want to move on?
Maybe we have. You know, one of the things that I wanted us to talk a little bit about, I mentioned as we were starting the show, is that Dean is now the president of the Maui Preparatory Academy Board of Directors. And I thought it'd be fun, Dean. You know, a lot of people, I'm sure, don't know how you got involved in the whole AIM story. Why don't you fill people in a little? Because I think, again, it's a story of realtors that stepped in and have really made a difference in the community, starting with Dean.
That was a great story, you're right. And it was a great effort made by quite a few people. This is now about 6 years. The school's about 6 years old. And in the very beginning, people had talked about starting a school forever in West Maui. It's something that obviously was needed. And we had a group of parents come together, and they had a pretty creative idea. They recruited 10 top realtors in the community, in the West Maui community, and they asked us to participate in a program to fundraise, essentially to raise seed money to start the school. And what they convinced us of was that the school was so important to the business, the real estate business, that we all decided to participate. Having a private school in West Maui sort of opened the door for all kinds of people to come over and live in Maui that weren't considering it in the past. You know, since on the mainland our public schools get kind of a bad rap, it seemed like there was an obvious need to start something a little different. And the way it worked was that I think it was 10 agents, including Betty and Roy Sakamoto and Mitch in our office, participated in the program. And what we did was we agreed to earmark a portion of our commissions in sales that somehow related to the school. If the people had parents had kids, or if somehow the school played a role in the decision to come over here, that we would agree to contribute a portion of our commissions to the school as a donation in those events. And it kind of took off. It was very popular. It was, when I signed up for the program, little did I realize that I ended up banging out about 10 huge deals, and unexpectedly made some fairly significant contributions. But it's been a great effort for me. It's been something that's been very dear to my heart. I have 2 kids, a 16-year-old and a 10-year-old, that have absolutely blossomed in the school. So it's something that's very dear to me, and it's been a great success for the kids, not only in West Maui, but we've got kids coming from all over the island. We had kids coming from the mainland. We had kids coming from Japan. We had kids maybe coming from China. So it's become something very popular, and it's a great choice for West Maui.
Another interesting broker thing that the same group did was, in order to really get it going, the same group signed as co-signers for a $5 million loan, which I got to admit was a little freaky and scary as we were in that. Now, fortunately, the school has done well and has been able to pay off that loan, refinance, and Dean is a little more into exactly how it all happened, which probably isn't important. But what I'm saying is that the same group of people, which the people that you mentioned, Marianne Fitch, Joe Dorner, Lori Lawson, it was really a kind of who's who of West Maui realtors that stepped up and have been a part of it. And I think people lose track of that with real estate people.